These people don't care whether they have this or they don't have that. If they have it, they're happy. If they don't have it, they're happy. It's the same to them. This is actually the state that the Muslim should be. If we have material possessions, we thank Allah and we are happy. If we don't have it, we still thank Allah and we're still happy. So how do you persuade people like that to consume? These are not the people who will be buying your products, buying your magazines, listening to your music, going and seeing your movies. They're not good consumers. Therefore, the reality is that these people ideologically, and in fact even economically, they are a threat. Because their whole culture and society relies upon people being miserable, depressed, and discontented. So a way of life that is going to give them peace and tranquility and happiness, and you don't have to drink a bottle of Coca-Cola or go and watch Steven Seagal kill 1,000 Muslims to make you happy, right? Okay? Or you don't have to listen to some music or go to some rave and dance all night to make yourself feel good. You don't have to go and buy some Gucci, Armani, Pierre Cardin, Chanel number 5, whatever, right? Because, it doesn't bother you. These people are not good consumers. In fact, that is a direct ideological threat. It is a direct ideological threat. So what we have to realize here is that there is an ideological battle. Many of us, we haven't, as Muslims and non-Muslims as well, normal people, we haven't realized that. This is something, however, I am absolutely sure the intellectual elite of the Western world have realized that. And certainly the multinational corporations, they realize that. They see that threat. And this is why Islam really poses a threat. It doesn't pose a threat to the normal people living in the world. Not at all. In fact, quite the opposite. It is the means to human beings achieving true peace, true tranquility and true happiness. But it is a threat to the vested interests of a few people. Not only that, but because Islam is not a religion that is based, or is not a way of life or an ideology that is based in the material, then even on a political and military level, Islam becomes very difficult to deal with. What do you do with the people who don't really care whether they live or die? In fact, they'll be happy to die if dying is something that is pleasing to God, and then they're happy to do it. What do you do with the people like that? What do you do with the people who you can't really bribe them because wealth is not their concern? You can't threaten them with economic sanctions and so on and so forth because wealth is not their concern. Then you can see, therefore, that even though these people may not have the latest military hardware, they may not have the latest equipment, but they are therefore militarily and politically also a great threat. And this ideology also, this mentality, is a very liberating one. It is a very liberating one. It is something that gives people the courage and the conviction to stand up against Western political and economic and ideological domination. It gives people the courage to stand up for themselves. Not to worry so much about the consequences. Because what is important to these individuals is not the pleasure of their desires and their passions, but the pleasure of their Lord. Now, I want to go back in history a little bit. And I suppose this part of the lecture, I have to say, is maybe a little bit more orientated towards the Muslims. If we go back in history a bit, we'll find something very interesting. We'll find many things actually very interesting that took place. In fact, it's a sad thing that Muslims do not study history and do not learn the lessons of history. But the particular thing that I want to focus today is on the spread of Christianity. Christianity started as a small, we could say, sect. Inshallah, as we Muslims believe anyway, it is the true sect. A small sect in Judea, or what is now Israel or Palestine, but at the time it was Judea, occupied at that time by the Roman Empire. There was a man, a prophet, as we believe. He is a prophet and a man. He is not God or the Son of God. His name is Jesus, or Isa ibn Maryam, Jesus the son of Mary, who was the Messiah to the Jews. The Messiah meaning the Anointed One. He came to call them back to the true, pure religion of God. That they should worship God alone and submit to His commandments. Today we have a religion called Christianity, which, according to many Western scholars, and certainly this is affirmed by the Quran, does not resemble in any way, shape or form what Jesus or Isa ibn Maryam taught. It is a completely different religion. It doesn't teach that we should worship God and submit to His commandments. Rather, it teaches that we should worship Jesus, that we should believe He is God, and that salvation comes by believing that He died on the cross for our sins. Anyway, it's not my proposal today or my intention today to go into a long